If you're a pro or an enthusiast Canon shooter, you're probably aware of the rumors surrounding the R5 and the R6. If the specs are real, these new bodies will be a major leap forward in both photo and video performance. Let's take a closer look to figure out what to really expect. Hi, and welcome to the channel. To get a more accurate prediction on the R5 and the R6, we'll take a look at what Canon said about future products, the rumored specs, and how close their latest cameras are faithful to their spec sheet promises. This is taken from the latest Canon corporate summary. We also see stable demand for professional and advanced amateur models. We have plans to launch a model that incorporates a newly developed image sensor and image processing engine that offer even more advanced features. We will expand sales of higher-end models driven by new products and aim for top market share even in the mirrorless camera market. We all know the photo market is shrinking, and enthusiasts like you and me may have felt neglected by Canon. So, if they realize that the enthusiast pro segment will be the last to fade out, it makes sense that Canon will focus their development on our needs/desires and try to recover the market share losses. Another thing going for us is that expensive and high volume production items bring the biggest profit margins. Therefore, enthusiasts and pros are the most dependable and profitable clientele. Now, keep all this in mind while we go over the rumored specs for the R5 and the R6. Let's start with stills resolution. Neither 20 or 45 megapixels are groundbreaking for Canon, so this is completely plausible. On the other hand, when you look at the 20 fps burst rate, those 45 megapixels might start to look like a bit of a stretch. The 1DX Mark III is Canon's new flagship camera, and it will max out at 20 fps at 20 megapixels. Let's crunch the numbers. That is a rate of 400 million pixels per second, while the R5 will need 540 million per second at 12 fps and 900 million per second at 20 fps. You might be thinking, hey, there's no way the R5 will outperform the 1DX. But you'd be wrong, because the M6 Mark II, a mere APS-C body, achieves 540 million per second with bursts of 30 fps at 18 megapixels and 455 million with 14 fps at 32 megapixels. If Canon is coming out with a better processor, at least the 12 fps at 45 megapixels are perfectly achievable. Maybe we'll see a crop at 20 fps like they did with the M6 at 30 fps. Anyway, even at 12 fps, many sports and wildlife shooters will welcome the 45 megapixels with open arms. What about IBIS? I'm sure this new generation of Canon mirrorless cameras will feature it, as they've been working on it for a long time and the demand for it is huge. I just hope that it'll be close to the IBIS in smaller sensor bodies. Dual card slots is also not a new feature for Canon. I'm sure it will be included in this new Pro body. Now, 8K at 30 fps? Well, there are two questions. Can they do it? Will they do it? It would be the first full-frame photo body to do 8K video. But I'm a bit skeptical that they've come that far. The safest bet is that 8K will most probably be a time-lapse mode. If they're actually able to provide 8K video, would they do it on a photo body first? What about their cinema cameras? Even if they manage to offer 8K, many of us won't use it, at least for the near future, so it's more a sign of their tech development than a practical use for most. It will most certainly be cropped, but not by as much as some think, as true 8K is 33 megapixels. 4K at 120 FPS poses a similar technical challenge, as it requires the processing of the same number of pixels per second as 8K at 30 FPS. I also wouldn't count on having autofocus or sound recording at this frame rate. And we could also get a low bitrate, similar to the 1080p at 120 FPS on the M6 Mark II. This is almost a cheat, as the M6's slow motion at 1080p has far less definition than the R at 720p. If you want to see for yourself, check out my previous video. All this leads me to think that the R5 will most certainly crop the image at 4K 120 FPS. When it comes to 4K 60 on both the R5 and R6, maybe we'll get the same as in the 1DX Mark III, which is full sensor readout but no dual pixel autofocus, unless Canon's new processors are indeed revolutionary. However, there could be an option to record with autofocus but with a crop. Let's hope it won't go the way of the M6 Mark II, which was the first to offer full sensor 4K output, but not really. It was upscaled from a lower res. It's easy to get swept away with these specs, thinking that these features will all be available with no crop and for an affordable price. I'm with you though. I also want that to be true. I crave a technological revolution at Canon, so we can all get more bang for our buck. But I'd bet there will be some caveats on those specs. Well, this is all my opinion. Feel free to share yours on the comments section. I'm just starting out my YouTube adventure, so if you enjoyed this video, consider subscribing. And I'll see you next time.